What's up guys, Readiness Reviews here with you again. We're doing another military surplus rifle unboxing. I think we'll be opening this one with a bayonet today. If you know what kind of bayonet this is, post it down in the comments. We'll cut into this. And we'll put that away. Before we start pulling stuff out, I will let you know that I picked this up from DK Firearms. They're an online firearms retailer. They sell both modern stuff and CNR eligible stuff, and that is what is in this box. So they put some packing paper in there, and it looks like after that it's just the rifle itself, covered in a hefty amount of bubble wrap, it looks like. So on one side of the package, the bubble wrap is very thick, and on the other side it's very thin. So it might not be the most even packing job, but at least they put a fair amount of bubble wrap in there. We can see this is a pretty short little rifle. Let's go ahead and tear into this and see what we have. That sight should give it away for a lot of you. And there we have it. We are back on the Carcano train once again. This is a Carcano Moschetto Modello 1891, also known as the Cavalry Carbine, which is sort of a misnomer. Since it's coming right out of the box, let's give it a quick safety check. Ooh, look at that, there's some mold down inside of it. So this is probably going to need a very heavy deep cleaning, but it is a safe firearm. The bolt's actually not too terribly stiff on this one. So as I said, I picked this up from DK Firearms. These particular Moschetto 1891 carbines with the folding bayonets are very abundant on the market at the moment. Most CNR retailers are offering these for sale. I kind of looked around everywhere and weighed all my options to try to figure out what the absolute best place to purchase the rifle at for, the best price would have been. And I came to the conclusion that DK Firearms was the place. Now I bought this on sale. I think their price has gone up just a little bit since then. So that equation might be a little different at this point, but when I purchased this, along with their shipping charge, it was about $243 shipped. As far as I can tell, that's about the best I could have done at that moment. Take a look at the general condition of what we got here. So the bluing on this rifle is quite a bit better than some of the other Carcanos that I've purchased recently, especially anything you're getting from Royal Tiger Imports. These rifles are coming out of Italy, where the RTI stuff is coming out of Ethiopia in Africa, and they've seen much harder use and a lot more wear. These Italian ones have seen heavy use, but a lot of them have been Arsenal refurbished at some point in their history, and generally they are a nicer condition rifle, and we can see that with the quality of the bluing on this one. However, the barrel on this one does seem to have some rust on it. It's sort of a very thin layer that's pretty evenly distributed. I'm probably going to have to boil that out and card that. That shouldn't be too hard to remove. I do believe there is some dark bluing underneath that, so that should clean up nicely. So the stock, well, it has a little repair on it here. It's very common to see issues with the wood running through the front handguard just below the rear sight here. All Carcanos you'll look at will have some kind of crack in that area just because the wood is so thin. And I don't see a crack in it on this one. We have little dents and dings. There's a little gouge out right there. Looks like down here on the wrist we have the start of a crack, or that might actually be an old repair. The stock is definitely a little bit worn, but it looks pretty good overall. Not sure what that is. That actually looks like some kind of tape. Yeah, that'll just come right off. Well, while we're down here on the stock, we have an interesting little stamp, and that says FAT 1946. FAT is the factory symbol for the Tierney Arsenal, and 1946 is going to be when this rifle was Arsenal refinished. So it went to Tierney in 1946 and they reworked it. The stocks on these are serialized, and that's what this number down here is. However, it does look like it's overstamped another number. When this went to Tierney for refurbishment post World War II, they probably put this new stock on it. The little swing swivel here has a bend in it, so at some point that got knocked by something and bent it pretty good. This should rotate, and it cannot rotate at the moment due to that being bent. But overall, I would say this is a good condition rifle. A lot better than a lot of the Carcanos I have seen. And for the price I paid for it, I'm happy with the external condition for sure. Let's see what this particular rifle is. So it looks like it was produced at Gardone Valchampia in 1935. I was hoping for a World War I dated rifle, but we received an interwar rifle. This rifle would have been created during that time where Italy was trying to expand their empire. I do see something a little odd with the dating of this rifle, though, in one of the features that it has, and that is the bayonet latch. So this has the old school pull latch, which was actually the first design of the latch for the Moschetto bayonet. There are 3 variations of bayonet latch. You have this pull latch, you have a lever latch, and a button latch. And this is actually the first iteration, as I said, and they began replacing these in like 1916. So that's a little odd for it to have that older feature on a relatively newer rifle. Let's go ahead and check out that bore condition. I'll be posting a little video of that here. Hopefully it looks okay. I do like shooting these Carcanos, so I do prefer to get one that has a shooter grade bore. That's about all I can hope for. Generally they are a little bit dark, but it is what it is. So as far as Carcanos goes, this one is a little bit of an ugly duckling. A lot of people don't like the way it looks. I actually really like this type of Carcano though. I would say it's one of the better ones. They can be a little annoying if the bayonet's really floppy, but the bayonet on this one is super solid, and I really like the lockup on that. Well, let's talk a little bit about the history of the Moschetto. As we know, the Italians adopted the Fucile Modello 91 Carcano in 1891. That rifle would be Italy's main infantry weapon of World War I. I have a previous unboxing of a Fucile 91 already on the channel. I'll post that right here. After they adopted that rifle, the military was still in need of a carbine version of their Carcano for troops other than regular infantry. Initially, they began development on a carbine that would be suitable for mounted troops, or cavalry. This is where the idea of the permanently attached folding bayonet came into play. Of course, they also want an all-around handier weapon with reduced size and weight from that of their long rifle. This new model of their rifle, the Moschetto, would be officially adopted in 1893, and production started at the Brescia Arsenal in 1894. Even though this rifle was developed with cavalry in mind, it was never really used in that way because Italy had very little actual cavalry troops. Instead, the Moschetto would mainly be issued to the Bersaglieri, who were like a high-speed, low-drag Italian shock troop. They were known for being very mobile on foot. They pretty much just ran everywhere. It would also be issued to the Carabinieri, who were like an Italian paramilitary national police force. Once bicycles made their way into military use, the Moschetto was the perfect fit for those mounted troops. And later on, it would be issued to paratroops. These particular rifles saw a fair amount of use in the Great War and would continue to be used and produced all the way through the end of World War II. There were several Italian arsenals that produced these weapons. Brescia was the only arsenal to produce them before and during World War I. Post-war, Terni began putting them out, followed by Gardone Valtrompia, which my rifle is. And finally, during World War II, Beretta produced some of these rifles as well. There is some confusion around the naming of these rifles, and a lot of that comes from the adoption of the M38 Moschetto and the changes that it brought to the design. The original M91 Moschetto was chambered in 6.5 Carcano and had an adjustable rear sight. When the Italians developed the M38 Moschetto in the new 7.35 cartridge, they decided to use a fixed rear sight. Due to logistical reasons, production of 7.35 chambered rifles was ended in 1939, and the production of 6.5 rifles started back up. Many of these new production carbines would be produced with the updated fixed rear sight of the M38. Collectors decided to dub these rifles the 9138, suggesting it was an 1891 carbine that had the 1938 updates. This naming structure was never actually used by the Italians, and all of the 6.5mm rifles were just known as the Moschetto Modello 91. In fact, rifles with the older style adjustable rear sight would still be produced all the way until the war ended. With that being said, I still believe the name 9138 is useful in describing a 6.5 chambered carbine with the updated rear sight and a round barrel, even if that terminology is technically incorrect. So when they did the 1938 update, they changed the rear sight and they did away with these flats on the barrel. It was just one round piece. All of the Moschetto 1891 carbines use a gain twist rifling, just like most other 6.5 Carcanos do. The ones chambered in 7.35, the M38 carbines, they do not have gain twist rifling. And if you're not familiar with what gain twist rifling is, towards the chamber, the twist rate is larger, and as you move towards the muzzle, it gets tighter and tighter, which spins the bullet up progressively over time. So the bullet rotation is a lot slower towards the chamber end, and as it moves towards the muzzle, It increases its spin rate. The idea behind that was to extend the barrel life, but in practice it really didn't do much, and that's why they did away with it with the later iterations of the rifle. Carbines with the adjustable sight, like this one, have a 300-meter battle sight with the rear sight folded forward, like that. So this notch would be a 300-meter sight. If you fold it in the rearward position, that is 450 meters, and then is adjustable to 600 meters on the first adjustment, all the way up to 1,500 meters. As I said before, this rifle is a very compact and handy size. I mean, it's so small, some people say it looks like it's made for children, which I don't really see that, but it is a very handy little rifle. I would much rather be carrying one of these around than the Fusilli 1891. Overall length on this comes in at 36¼ inches. The barrel length is only 17.6 inches, so quite a short little barrel. And the overall weight comes in at under 7 pounds at 6.88 pounds. Just like all your Carcanos, this uses the Mannlicher style clip loading. I have a clip here with original 6.5 ammunition, and if you were loading this, the whole clip would fit down into the receiver. When this rifle was first put into service, they did not have this front handguard. This barrel band was also designed a little bit differently. It didn't have this metal clip on the top. I believe it was in 1916 when those updates began. Their experiences in World War I quickly led to the conclusion that this barrel gets extremely hot and they need something to protect the hands of the troops that were actually using these rifles. So it's actually pretty rare to run across one of these that is still in that original configuration without a handguard. They're still relatively affordable. If you do see one of those, I would say that's probably the most desirable version of this rifle from a collector standpoint. I'm still a little bit confused about why this rifle has the early style pull latch for the bayonet. That doesn't really make sense for the date of production of this particular rifle. But the bayonet on this is in very good shape. It's not floppy, which a lot of these become over time. Seems to lock in nice and tight. It's not rattling around in its extended position. So I'm actually pretty happy about that. That's a cool little feature. But I definitely wouldn't expect that on a rifle that was made in 1935. It's kind of odd. My purchase from DK Firearms went very smoothly, as it has when I've ordered from them in the past. They make it very easy to provide your CNR information and to actually order from them. At one point, they were providing original brass clips with the rifles. If you bought a Carcano from them, they would send you a clip with that rifle. I did not get one in this box. So I don't know if they're still doing that or not. One of the unfortunate things about Carcanos is that they never put a serial number on the receiver. And so pretty much every Carcano that's been imported recently has had to have a new serial number stamped on the receiver in order for it to comply with US import law. The original serial number for the rifle is on the barrel there, but that is a no-go legality-wise. So these do have sort of ugly little stampings on them, but at least they're nice and dark. They're not shiny. And it looks like this one was imported by PW Arms in Richmond. They have brought in a ton of Carcanos over the past year from Italy. So that's one more check off my Carcano collection list. There's only a couple models left I have to get. Well, that was the video, guys. Hopefully this wasn't too boring and you learned a little bit about Moschetto and Modello 1891 rifles. I really do like Carcanos. They are not the best of milsurp rifles, but they are interesting, and it definitely helps that they are relatively cheap and in abundance right now, so you can have a nice little collection of these fairly easily if you start collecting them over a period of time like I have. If you saw something about this rifle that I didn't mention in the video, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you think about Carcanos in general down in the comments. Are they complete junk? Do they have any place in a firearms collection, especially a milsurp collection? I would say yes, they do. But I have heard differing opinions from people. A lot of people really hate on Carcanos, which I don't really know why. I mean, they work just fine. Are they the best rifles? No, they are not. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up. I really appreciate that. That helps us with the Google machine. And if you know someone else that you think might enjoy this video, please share it, because that is the best way to help me grow the channel. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button, because I will be posting more milsurp content as we go along. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I truly appreciate each and every view, and I will catch you in the next video. See you then. Peace.